like he barely got you. He's always with me, though. I don't care what nobody say. He needs therapy. The in therapy. Now what? What else you want to know, you stupid bitch?
Nobody expected the Zeus CEO to speak. Not on live, not in an interview, not even behind closed doors. For months, he watched the chaos swirl around Chrisean and Blueface like a hurricane with no eye fights, meltdowns, disappearances, secret footage, CPS calls, goons, court orders, and the constant back and forth that left everyone confused, exhausted, and terrified for Junior. But when the Zeus CEO sat down in that glossy black leather chair, leaned forward, and placed his phone on the table face up, screen dim, the entire internet froze. His expression wasn't shady. It wasn't mocking. It wasn't for clout. It was serious, dead serious. And when he said, "There are things the public doesn't know about why her custody is in danger," the whole industry stopped breathing. He didn't say it with anger. He didn't say it with judgment. He said it like a man who'd been holding a truth too heavy for too long. Then he added, "And I've seen the documents." That single sentence detonated the timeline. Blogs crashed. Twitter threads exploded. Screenshots flew everywhere. People who defended Chrisean for months suddenly went silent. Because for the Zeus CEO, the man who watched her rise, who filmed her chaos, who profited off her fame to suddenly step in and speak on custody, something catastrophic must be happening behind the scenes. And he didn't speak vaguely. He spoke with detail. He spoke with fear. He spoke like someone who had seen photos, reports, text messages, and private footage that the public would never be allowed to see. He said, "There's one moment, one mistake, that no judge in America is going to ignore. And if this gets out, she won't just lose custody, she won't get visitation either." The room went silent. The comments went insane. People typed, "What did she do? What moment? What footage? What does the CEO know?" And he stared into the camera with a look that said, "You're not ready for the truth. Because the reason he's speaking now is the same reason Chrisean's legal team is panicking, the same reason CPS moved faster than expected, the same reason Junior's location was flagged twice, and the same reason Blueface suddenly got quiet." Long before the Zeus CEO sat down in that leather chair and dropped the sentence that sent the entire internet into cardiac arrest. There's one moment no judge will ignore. There were whispers inside the Zeus building that something was deeply wrong. Not with the show, not with the ratings, not even with the cast, but with Chrisean. More specifically, with the reality unfolding behind the cameras that Zeus didn't dare broadcast. The truth is, Zeus didn't just film Chrisean. They studied her. They monitored her mood swings, her disappearances, her habits, her breakdowns, her highs that were too high and her lows that were too low. They watched her come in late, leave early, forget calls, burst into tears between takes, argue with producers, skip rehearsals, bring Junior into conversations he didn't belong in. They saw everything, but for months, they said nothing. Why? Because Chrisean wasn't just cast, she was ratings. The kind of raw, unpredictable, magnetic chaos that made Zeus millions. Every meltdown, every scream, every fight was money. But then, the unpredictability got darker. The CEO received messages from staff. "She's not okay today. She came in with a bruise. She lost her phone again. She forgot her wallet again. She won't stop crying backstage. She said someone was watching her. She said someone was inside her house." At first, it sounded like paranoia, stress, exhaustion, drama. But then, the CEO saw something with his own eyes that changed everything. It was during the taping of a reunion special. Chrisean showed up 39 minutes late, hoodie over her head, trembling, barely holding Junior upright. The baby was half asleep, confused, looking around like he didn't understand where he was. When a producer gently asked her, "Rock, did he eat today?" she stared blankly, then whispered, "I think so." The CEO watching from the monitor room stood up instantly. He'd worked with stars at their worst. He'd seen chaos, tantrums, breakdowns. But this? A mom not knowing if her toddler ate? This wasn't drama. This was danger. He followed her backstage and overheard an argument she didn't know he witnessed. A staff member said, "Rock, you can't have him here right now. He's tired." Chrisean snapped not in anger, but fear. "I can't let him out of my sight. They looking for him." "Who?" the staff asked gently. She whispered, "Everybody." The CEO saw something in her eyes that chilled him, the same haunted look he'd seen in people being stalked or hunted. The same look celebrities get when they're being blackmailed. But when he approached her, she shut down and said, "I'm fine. Stop asking me. I'm fine." She wasn't, and Zeus knew it. Over the next few weeks, Chrisean's behavior spiraled deeper. The CEO kept getting reports. She left set crying. She screamed at security. She threw her mic. She lost the diaper bag. She forgot where she parked. But the moment that changed everything came on a Tuesday afternoon during a private meeting. Zeus Security walked into the CEO's office holding a USB drive. "We need you to see this," they said. The CEO plugged it in, and what he saw wasn't footage from the show. It wasn't backstage content. It wasn't even something recorded intentionally. It was accidental camera footage from a hallway outside the Zeus lounge, footage Chrisean had no idea existed. The clip showed Chrisean walking with Junior in one arm, a drink in the other, pacing the hallway and whispering furiously into her phone. "I know he was in my house. I know he touched my baby's stuff. Stop telling me I'm tripping." She put the phone down, and suddenly burst into tears in the middle of the hallway. Not dramatic tears. Not for TV tears. The kind that come from exhaustion and fear and confusion and being completely alone against something she couldn't even explain. Junior cried too, arms outstretched toward her face, trying to understand. She didn't even notice he was crying. The CEO paused the footage. His heart sank. This wasn't custody court footage. This wasn't evidence from Blueface's family. This wasn't CCTV from a building. This was his studio, his staff, his cameras, capturing a mother breaking down while her baby watched. He looked at his security team and asked, "How long has this been happening?" They exchanged a look before answering. "A while." "How long?" he repeated. "Months." And then they said the part that made him go pale. "We have more." Over the next hour, they showed him video after video, all unintentional. None recorded for the show. Chrisean pacing with no shoes on. Chrisean leaving Junior on a couch while she argued loudly in the hallway. Chrisean losing her keys and collapsing into tears. Chrisean whispering into corners of rooms like she thought someone was listening. Chrisean jumping when a door closed too fast. Chrisean shaking during hair and makeup appointments. Chrisean looking over her shoulder every 5 minutes. Chrisean saying, "Don't let him near my baby," to nobody in particular. But there was one clip the CEO couldn't stop replaying. One clip that made him realize the severity of her custody battle. One clip that made him say the words, "She's going to lose the kid." It was recorded by accident in a dressing room. Junior sat on the floor fiddling with a toy car. Chrisean stood in the mirror talking into her phone, tears streaming down her face. "Please stop calling me. Please stop coming to my house. Stop telling me where I go. Stop telling me you watching me. I can't do this. He can't see this. My baby can't grow up scared." Then she dropped the phone, covered her face, and screamed, not loud, not aggressive. A scream of someone whose life was unraveling. The CEO watched Junior crawl toward her, pat her leg with his tiny hand, confused and scared. "That was the moment," he said later, when he realized, this isn't about drama. This is a child in the middle of something he shouldn't see. So when he said on camera, "There's a moment no judge will ignore," he wasn't making it up. He was talking about that footage, that breakdown, that scream. That moment where a mother lost control while her child watched silently. But the biggest twist? That moment wasn't the only thing that would destroy her case. There was something else, something the CEO hinted at but didn't reveal yet. Something involving someone inside the Zeus building. Someone who betrayed her. The Zeus CEO didn't go public because he wanted clout. He didn't speak because he wanted to embarrass Chrisean. He didn't expose anything for clicks. He spoke because he knew something the internet didn't. Chrisean's custody loss didn't start with CPS. It didn't start with police. It didn't start with Blueface. It started inside Zeus. Behind the cameras. Behind the set. Behind the scenes of the very network that made her famous. And the person who triggered it was someone she trusted. Not a rival cast member. Not a security guard. Not an editor. Not a producer. It was someone far closer. Someone who watched her every day. Someone who pretended to care. Someone who told her she was family. The person who filed the first report against Chrisean was her own Zeus handler. A woman named Marina, the staff member assigned to escort Chrisean, manage her schedule, help her with wardrobe, guide her through hair and makeup, and stay with her between scenes. Chrisean saw Marina as a friend. Someone who held the diaper bag when she forgot it. Someone who wiped JR's face when he spilled juice. Someone who sat with her during panic attacks. Someone who hugged her backstage when she cried. But Marina was secretly documenting everything. Her role wasn't just to help Chrisean, she was hired to monitor her. Because months earlier, executives at Zeus had noticed something disturbing: repeated patterns in Chrisean's behavior that suggested something deeper than stress. Late arrivals, sudden disappearances, constant paranoia, breakdowns with no trigger, hours-long crying spells, random anger spikes, episodes where she forgot entire conversations, moments where she'd stop mid-sentence and stare into space like she was somewhere else entirely. They were worried about production delays, not her mental health. To protect the network, they assigned Marina to closely observe her. But Marina went further. She didn't just observe, she collected screenshots, notes, voice memos, accidental recordings, day-by-day logs of every breakdown. And then she submitted the first official report. Chrisean Rock may be psychologically unfit to care for an infant on set. The CEO never saw the report at first. It went directly to the legal department, and that is where everything began to unravel. But let's go back to the moment that triggered Marina to file it. It was a Friday afternoon mid-season filming when the cast was preparing for a heated confrontation scene. The energy backstage was tense. Everyone was yelling, pacing, checking their phones. Meanwhile, Chrisean sat alone in a dressing room, trembling, her eyes unfocused. Marina walked in and said gently, "Rock, you good?" Chrisean didn't answer. Then, she started whispering, "Don't let him in. Don't open the door. Don't let him near my baby." Marina froze. "Rock? Who are you talking about?" Chrisean looked up suddenly, her eyes wild. "He was standing over JR last night." Marina's blood turned cold. "Who?" But Chrisean wouldn't name him, wouldn't describe him, wouldn't explain how he entered. She just kept repeating, "He was in my house. He was in my house. He was in my house." Marina begged her to sit down, to drink water, to breathe. But Chrisean grabbed her hand, nails digging in, tears pouring from her eyes. "They trying to take my baby. They trying to make me look crazy. I'm not crazy. Just help me. Please don't let them take him." That was the moment Marina panicked. It wasn't the crying. It wasn't the fear. It wasn't the breakdown. It was the certainty in Chrisean's voice. Like she wasn't guessing. She knew someone had entered her home. And Marina realized she had no way to verify if it was true, or if Chrisean was hyperventilating her way into delusion. So she made a decision she thought would protect the child. She filed a report. She didn't tell Chrisean. She didn't warn her. She didn't hesitate. She sent it straight to Zeus Legal, and Zeus Legal forwarded it to CPS. CPS forwarded it to court officials. And that report that moment is what officially opened the file. Potential risk to minor. Emotional instability of mother. Before the police footage, before the goons, before the motel chase, before Blueface's cousin recorded anything, Chrisean's custody had already been jeopardized, and she didn't know it. The CEO only learned about Marina's report when the legal team emailed him an update. "Per your request, all documentation regarding cast member Rock's maternal incidents have been forwarded to Child Services." He nearly fainted, because he never asked for that. He stormed into the legal office demanding answers. "You told us to escalate," the attorney replied calmly. "No, I didn't," he snapped. But Marina did. And that's when the CEO realized the truth. Someone inside Zeus had taken custody matters into their own hands. And it didn't stop there. Because Marina didn't file just one report. She filed 4. The CEO read them with shaking hands. Report has shown. Chrisean shows signs of extreme fear around her child. Claims someone enters her home. Report #2. Observed Rock crying in front of infant repeatedly for 25 minutes. Report #3. Rock appeared lost and disoriented during a break. Asked, "Where is my baby?" while holding the child. Report #4. Rock stated, "They watching us while adjusting baby's blanket." Any one of these would be troubling. All 4 were devastating. The CEO felt sick. But the most damning part? Marina wasn't doing it maliciously. She genuinely thought she was saving Junior. She didn't know the full story. Didn't know about the stalker. Didn't know about Blueface's hired threat. Didn't know about the flash drive. Didn't know about the hidden cameras. Didn't know Chrisean was being psychologically tortured. She only saw the symptoms. So she reported the mother, not the system destroying her. And the legal department? They interpreted Marina's reports as evidence of instability. They forwarded everything to CPS. CPS filed it under patterns consistent with unfit parenting. And that's when the Zeus CEO realized something that made his stomach drop. The battle for custody wasn't happening in the future. It already happened. She already lost ground. She was fighting a case she didn't even know was open. But the biggest twist? Marina wasn't acting alone. Someone told her to file the reports. Someone pushed her. Someone whispered, "Document everything." And the CEO only learned who when he checked the email metadata. The person CC'd in all the internal messages. The person giving Marina guidance. The person communicating with Zeus Legal. The person sending copies to CPS. Was a man outside the company. A man connected directly to Blueface. A man who sent the same instructions to Blueface's cousin. A man who had been manipulating both sides of the custody war. The same man who had broken into Chrisean's home. The same man who stalked her. The same man who held the flash drive. The same man who appeared at the gas station. Him. The Zeus CEO stared at the email trail in disbelief. The stalker wasn't acting alone. He was working with someone. Inside the custody system. The Zeus CEO sat frozen in his office chair long after everyone else left the building. The only light came from the glow of his monitor, where the same name appeared again and again at the bottom of Marina's reports, the name of the man who had followed Chrisean, stalked her, entered her home, chased her through motels, and stood outside that gas station door. The same man had been CC'd on 4 internal emails. 4. A man who didn't work at Zeus. A man with no official connection to production. A man who should never have had access to legal reports or CPS communication. Yet there his name was. S. Westbrook, external consultant. The CEO whispered out loud, "How the hell did he get into our system?" He clicked the email chain again, reading the internal notes. S. Westbrook advised escalation. Per S. Westbrook's recommendation. Forward to child services. Per Sebeldew. Marina continued documenting. SW approval. The CEO's heart thumped painfully. This wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't a glitch. This wasn't an accident. This was infiltration. Someone had strategically inserted himself between Zeus, CPS, and Chrisean's custody battle months before she even realized she was losing ground. And that someone was the same man who had terrorized her in real life. It meant the fear wasn't random. It was deliberate, strategic, coordinated. He wasn't just stalking her. He was building a case. A case that didn't belong to him. A case he was shaping quietly, from the shadows, long before the internet saw anything. The CEO immediately called Zeus Legal. "We have a breach," he said. "Someone unauthorized is connected to our internal reports." The lawyer replied calmly. "There's no breach. He was vetted." Vetted by who? By the person who requested him. And who requested him? There was a pause. "You're not going to like the answer. Tell me." The lawyer exhaled slowly. Blueface. The CEO's blood ran cold. The room spun. Blueface, the same man who hired him to scare Chrisean. The same man who set up staged recordings. The same man who wanted a custody advantage. Had also secretly recommended this man to Zeus. As a safety consultant for child welfare issues. A fake title. A fake role. A fake recommendation. But Zeus Legal approved it. Because they thought he was legitimate. They didn't know he was the same individual threatening Chrisean behind the scenes. But the CEO knew instantly. He used us as a weapon. The lawyer lowered her voice. "You won't like this either. But CPS accepted him too." The CEO almost fell out of his chair. "You're telling me CPS Child Protective Services let an unlicensed man participate in an active custody evaluation?" The lawyer hesitated. He wasn't listed as unlicensed. So what was he? Another pause. An independent analyst. Of what? High conflict custody cases. The CEO slammed his fist on the desk. "This man doesn't work in family law. He doesn't work in psychology. He doesn't work in anything legitimate." He submitted credentials. What credentials? A soft reply. Private security and child risk assessment. The CEO closed his eyes. A man with a criminal history. A man with multiple aliases. A man who admitted to stalking. A man who psychologically tortured Chrisean. That man was officially recognized by CPS as a custody consultant. The CEO whispered, "This isn't a custody case. This is a setup." But the real twist came next. Because the lawyer said, "There's more." The CEO braced himself. The lawyer continued, "He wasn't working alone." The CEO's hand tightened around the phone. "Who else?" The lawyer swallowed audibly. "He was working with Blueface's attorney." Silence. Then a sharper, colder silence. The CEO finally said, "You mean to tell me Chrisean is being evaluated by someone chosen by the father's lawyer?" "Yes." "How is that legal?" "It isn't." "Then, why didn't anyone stop it?" Because he filed all 4 reports before anyone realized he didn't actually work for CPS. The CEO felt sick. It got worse. The lawyer added, and he submitted a psychological profile of Chrisean. Without ever speaking to her, the CEO's voice shook. What did it say? The lawyer read it from the file. Shows signs of instability. Paranoid behavior, reported by multiple sources. Unpredictable emotional patterns. Poor environmental security. Child may be unsafe during unsupervised periods. The CEO nearly shouted, "That sounds like Marina's reports," the lawyer said quietly. It is Marina's reports, word for word. He copied her notes and submitted them as his own psychological evaluation. The CEO covered his face. He understood now. The stalker didn't just terrorize her physically. He terrorized her on paper. He fabricated a clinical assessment. He inserted himself into legal conversations. He manipulated CPS into thinking she was unstable. He used Marina's well-intentioned documentation as ammunition. He used Zeus's internal emails as evidence. He made himself the invisible architect of her downfall, and nobody knew. The CEO whispered, "How deep does this go?" The lawyer didn't answer at first. Then she said the line that changed everything. He wasn't working for Blueface anymore. The CEO's eyes opened fast. What? The lawyer repeated. He wasn't working for Blueface. He was working for someone else. The CEO shook his head. Who? The lawyer hesitated, then finally revealed. A foster placement intermediary. The CEO froze. A what? The lawyer clarified. A private organization that tries to accelerate child removal when they believe a child will benefit from early intervention. The CEO blinked slowly. And Blueface hired him? No, the lawyer replied. He approached Blueface. And Blueface believed him. The CEO's heartbeat pounded in his ears. So what's the end goal? He whispered. The lawyer answered. To separate the child from both parents. The CEO nearly dropped the phone. He's not trying to help Blueface win custody. He's trying to remove the child entirely. And suddenly everything made sense. Why he stalked her. Why he scared her. Why he manipulated CPS. Why he inserted himself into reports. Why he recorded Blueface. Why he chased her through motels. Why he threatened her. Why he took the flash drive. Why, he said. They're not coming for you, they're coming for the child. He wasn't helping Blueface. He was using Blueface. He was using Chrisean. He was building a case that neither parent was fit. Because that's what these intermediaries do. The CEO whispered. Oh my God. Chrisean wasn't running from Blueface. She was running from him. But the biggest twist? The lawyer added one final chilling line. There's a second flash drive. And he has it. The CEO felt his blood freeze. What's on the second one? The lawyer answered. A recording of the night JR went missing the first time. The CEO grabbed the desk for balance. The truth wasn't just bad. It was catastrophic. The Zeus CEO stared at the phone like it was a grenade about to explode in his hands. A second flash drive. Not the one Chrisean had. Not the one the stalker S. Westbrook taunted her with in the gas station. Another one. A drive that he kept. Hidden. Untouched. Unseen by Chrisean. Unseen by Blueface. Unseen by Zeus. Unseen even by CPS. And according to Zeus Legal, this second drive held the most dangerous piece of evidence in the entire custody war. A recording of the night JR went missing the first time. Not the night Blueface accused Chrisean of losing the child. Not the night social media blew up with fake stories. Not the night bloggers created narratives. No. The night before any of that, the night the internet never knew happened, because the people involved were too powerful and too scared to let the truth out. The CEO whispered, "What exactly is on that footage?" The lawyer exhaled shakily. The drive contains security footage from outside Chrisean's apartment, and footage from inside. The CEO stopped breathing. Inside? His voice cracked. He had cameras inside her home? Not installed by him, she clarified. Installed by someone else. The CEO blinked hard. By who? The lawyer's silence was deafening. Then she said it. Blueface. The CEO felt like he'd been punched. Blueface had hidden cameras inside her apartment. Not for protection. Not for safety. Not because he cared. But because he was planning for this moment, a custody war, long before it happened. The CEO closed his eyes. My God. The lawyer continued. The footage from inside the apartment shows the moment the child disappeared. The room spun. And worse, she added. It shows how. The CEO gripped the armrest so tightly his knuckles went white. How? Did the child go missing? The lawyer's voice dropped to a whisper. He wasn't misplaced. He wasn't unsupervised. He wasn't forgotten. Then, he was taken. The CEO's heart stopped, and the footage shows exactly who took him. He swallowed hard. Who? The lawyer's next words nearly made him collapse. A woman. The CEO froze. A woman. Not the stalker. Not Blueface's cousin. Not a stranger. A woman. A silhouette entering the apartment calmly, picking up JR gently, carrying him out like she'd done it before. No panic. No rush. No hesitation. Someone who knows the home, knows the child, knows the routine. The CEO whispered, Is it Chrisean? He didn't want to ask it. He didn't want to believe it. He didn't want this to be the twist. No, the lawyer said quickly. It's not her. The CEO felt a brief wave of relief. Then who? The lawyer interrupted him sharply. It was Blueface's mother. Silence. A dead, heavy silence that felt like the air had been sucked out of the entire building. Carlissa. The Zeus CEO dropped into his chair. You're telling me his own mother took JR? Yes. But why? The lawyer flipped a page in the file. Carlissa later claimed she was protecting the child from an unstable environment. The CEO felt sick, so she kidnapped him. The lawyer didn't answer directly, but the implication was clear. The CEO rubbed his temples, trying to breathe through the shock. How did the footage end up in Westbrook's hands? The lawyer replied, It didn't. Westbrook stole it. The CEO stared at the wall. And why didn't Blueface release it? Because it destroys his case, she said. And why didn't Chrisean release it? She never knew it existed. The CEO whispered, So the one piece of evidence that could clear her name is being held hostage by the same man who stalked her. Yes. The CEO stood up suddenly, pacing the room. This isn't a custody battle. This is tampering. This is manipulation. This is collusion between Blueface's family, a fake consultant, and a foster intermediary. But the lawyer wasn't done. There was one last detail, one final twist, one blow that would end both parents' chances in court. The footage doesn't just show Carlissa taking the child. The CEO braced himself. It also shows Blueface watching from his car and doing nothing. The CEO's breath caught. He let her take him? He whispered. He filmed it, the lawyer confirmed. He planned to use it to paint Chrisean unstable. But he didn't expect his own mother to incriminate herself. The CEO nearly dropped the phone. Everything made sense now. Why Westbrook stalked Chrisean. Why Blueface panicked. Why CPS acted so fast. Why the CEO went public. Why everyone was suddenly afraid to speak. Why Chrisean was running. Because the one piece of evidence that could exonerate her would also destroy Blueface completely. No judge would give custody to a father who filmed his mother kidnapping a toddler for strategy. And CPS? They wouldn't give the child to a mother being psychologically manipulated or to a father aiding a kidnapping. The lawyer's voice was grim. This footage, if it hits court, both parents lose custody. The CEO stopped pacing. JR loses both parents. The lawyer added, and that's exactly what Westbrook wants. The CEO whispered, Oh my God. He's not trying to help Blueface. He's trying to remove the child entirely. The call ended with one chilling line. Find that second flash drive, or the child is gone. The episode ends here, because the next chapter isn't about Blueface, isn't about Chrisean, isn't about Zeus. It's about a toddler who may enter foster care permanently, unless someone finds the missing drive first. And that is where everything stops, not because the story is over, but because the truth has gotten too explosive for anyone involved to control. When a custody battle turns into a conspiracy involving hidden cameras, stolen footage, legal manipulation, false consultants, forged evaluations, a foster placement intermediary, and the child's own grandmother caught on video taking him in the middle of the night, this is no longer celebrity drama. This is a full-blown crisis. A crisis that could end with both parents losing custody forever. A crisis that a single missing flash drive could either solve or completely detonate. Because if that second drive ever makes it into a courtroom, the judge won't care about social media noise, Zeus footage, interviews, DMs, blogs, or Blueface's lives. The only thing that will matter is what the footage shows. A toddler taken from his crib, a father watching silently, a grandmother carrying him out, a fake consultant running the entire operation from the shadows. And now that flash drive is missing. Before you leave this video, I need to know what you think because the internet is split down the middle right now. Do you think Carlissa acted alone? Do you think Blueface knew exactly what was happening? Do you think Westbrook is working with a foster organization? Or using them as a front? Should Chrisean release anything she has, even if it puts her own case at risk? And most importantly, who do you believe should have custody of Junior after all this? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Your voice pushes this story into the algorithm and forces accountability where it needs to be. Like this video if you want the next part immediately. Share it to your group chats, because people need to know how deep this goes. Subscribe and turn on all notifications so you don't miss the moment this case takes its next turn. Because the second that missing flash drive surfaces, the second someone leaks even 1 second of that footage, the second Westbrook makes his next move. I'll be right here breaking down the truth the moment it hits the internet. Stay locked in. Stay watching. This story is far from over.